Hey guys, what's up? It's your favorite Siren and uh or Siren. Sorry. And yeah, I think guys all knew this was going to happen. Welcome to my thoughts on Christopher Nolan's Odyssey movie. It's been about 3 weeks since I saw it. I've had some time to think about stuff, and I actually went with my fellow disabled friend Christian. He's also in a wheelchair. Shout out to him. We had been planning this for months, but since my dad, passed away, we had to postpone it. But yeah, we finally did it. It was great. We got accessible seats and stuff to the movie. And yeah, guys, it was overall pretty good. I would say. Hopefully you still stay for the rest of the comments, but I would say, 7 out of 10, above average. And I also want to say that, like, I do have a master's degree in the classical liberal arts. So, um, you know, once again, this was gonna happen. Like, I went to St. John's College. I'm a Johnny. And speaking of that, I'd like to, thank, uh, Mr. J. Gold from the unofficial St. John's College Facebook group because a lot of his criticisms or the criticisms I'm about to present here, I first read from him. I tried to avoid anything regarding it before I saw it, but I did see that, and I'm trying to give credit where credit is due because I do think it's mostly right what he said. So shout out to him. I had a few classes with him. He's one of um those older people who is like for real the definition of a lifelong learner. So shout out to Mr. Gold. Um and yeah, first off, I want to say that, like, wow, this was one of the first movies where I think the combination of CGI, and I overheard today actually in physical therapy one of the physical therapists talking about how the Cyclops was apparently a practical effect. I'm like, wait, what? How? Like, so, but this was one of the first movies also where I felt like the CGI wasn't like super cringe. Like, going all the way back to the Star Wars prequels, I really think that, like, they were the ones for these types of movies that are heavily reliant on um that type of effects, the CGI. They were kind of the ones that kind of just went full force. Thank you, George Lucas. With it, without really considering that maybe 20 to 25 years later it would look but I didn't really think that was the case for Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. I really didn't. Um and the overall story, I felt like they covered the important story beats as well. Um Pretty perfectly. The only thing I'm disappointed about, and I'm not gonna get into the cultures conflict stuff here at all. Um, is that I don't think there were absolutely any Greeks. There was Greek spoken. Um, but number one, I don't think it was Koine Greek or I'm sorry, not Koine Greek. It would have been just straight classical Attic Greek at that time, probably, or at least they could have done that, right? I mean, I know no one speaks it, but I'm pretty sure they use modern Greek, which is okay, fine. But there were absolutely no Greeks at all in the movie. I'm disappointed about that. I mean, some people were like, "Oh, you're putting black people in there." I don't really care about that. Although I do think maybe a missed opportunity to put Gianni Santecompu, have him make a cameo because at least bro was born and raised in Athens. Like, um, but yeah, but the bigger stuff, number one, and I haven't heard um people mentioning this, but unless I didn't pay attention, I'm pretty sure that they skipped the entire portion of Odysseus after he leaves Calypso's island, right? And we'll talk about that later on, but he um is shipwrecked on the island of Scria, where King Alcinous lives, and his daughter Nausicaa. Um, and they just cut that part out. I'm pretty sure, unless, like I said, I missed something or I wasn't paying attention. Um, like, um, that's my favorite part, guys. Um, because that's where Odysseus kind of realizes, or a lot of his memories start to filter back through to him when he hears the guy singing in the dining area of the court of King Alcinous. And but I can kind of at the same time understand it, cuz I mean, in the book Nausicaa is extremely infatuated with Odysseus, right? And she's a teenage girl, and I'm like, oh, like thinking about it for a couple of weeks, I realized, like, oh, you know, I can see how they would leave that part out. But the thing is, in the book, Odysseus rebuffs Nausicaa's advances. Um So I'm not really sure what went on there. I would have, if it had to be 4 hours just for them to include that part, I would have stayed for the 4 hours. Um, I wonder if they did film that part or something, and it's just gonna be like an extra in the streaming or DVD or Blu-ray releases. But I really liked the references to both the Iliad and the Oresteia. And I do hope they eventually make movies out of those as well. You know, cause honestly, I kind of like the Oresteia, both all three plays that make that up. Better than the Odyssey, honestly. Um, but moving on. Um, oh, and by the way, I wanted to say about the Iliad, if they ever adapt it, there's definitely gonna have to be African descended people in that one because, as you'll remember, at the beginning of the Iliad, um, I think Hermes and Achilles are coming in, right? But there's literally an Ethiopian delegation in the Iliad. Um right at the beginning. But and of course Ethiopia was like a broader term for the Greeks back then. It wasn't just what we would today call Ethiopia. So, it was Ethiopia, it was Eritrea, it was Somalia. So what we would today call the Horn of Africa. That's what they considered Ethiopia. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, I like the effects, I like the story beats. One thing is that Odysseus's character, man, they butchered him. I'm sorry, but like Odysseus in the Odyssey is not this sort of Hollywood superhero. He cries a lot. He cries before going off from Calypso's island. Um he cries at the court of King Alcinous. He cries at various points during each of the trials. Um and so it's kind of weirdly like the things that you would have thought directly from the story that could be considered quote unquote woke, they decided not to adapt for some reason. Just the strangest thing of all time, right? Because to be honest, guys, I'm gonna be real. Like I do think that although ancient Greek masculinity has its problem and it's sort of been really corrupted by like ortho bros who try to and like Instagram or online pagans who try to impose stuff or project Christian interpretations on those things that didn't even really exist back then. Um, like an actual close reading of those texts and stuff like that show you that the Greeks actually, especially when it came to men and heroes and people in conflict showing their emotions, they were a lot better than even our current culture. Um, and so yeah, Odysseus might be the king of Ithaca, but he's also the king of crybabies. Remember that. um, yeah. And another thing too is that there's no. Speaking of that, there's no Shreks. Even though there's a ton of Shreks in the actual book, like, low key, I'm not gonna lie, like, Calypso in the book low key SAs slash grapes Odysseus night after night. His memories aren't there, so she's doing it non-consensually, guys, and it's like, but like, why would, I'm assuming that with the amount of physical unaliving and stuff like that, and like just, I don't know if I can say the V word in the movie already. They didn't want it to have an NC-17 rating, but like, yeah, there's just no Shreks whatsoever. Even though there's a ton in the book, when Kirky again, it just shows her turning, excuse me, into pigs, the crew and stuff, but she also seduces them as well in the text. So once again, that's kind of weird, dog. Like I said again, I can understand the whole Nausicaa situation. That would even like today be kind of weird, but like the Kirky stuff, nah, man. What the um and but honestly, guys, all in all, it was like I said, pretty good, above average. Yeah, I do feel like Odysseus being kind of your typical, like, I'm just gonna say it right now. Odysseus is not Jason Bourne. He never was, even back then. And like again, people will accuse me of like, oh, you just want to impose your woke value, bro. Read the actual text. Read it, and you'll see that Odysseus is not your typical Hollywood superhero. That's the most disappointing part. That's what keeps it for me from being like an 8 or a 9, in addition to all of the other little stuff I was said. But man, that's the worst part of, they kind of botched Odysseus's character. He does cry, guys, but he only cries like maybe once or twice in the entire movie. Um is there anything um I'm missing? I don't think, what I will say and is just two or a few quick things. I didn't know Anne Hathaway was still so bad, bro. Like, I think it's on Anne Hathaway that plays Penelope, right? Uh, perfect for Penelope, honestly. Um, and Penelope in the original text is my favorite character. Um, other than Odysseus himself, of course. And I was scared that they weren't gonna put in the part where his maidservant sees the scar that he got on the hunting trip when he was little. But bro, when I saw that part, bro, it filled me with like just joy, and like I was like, yes, you go. And of course, with the final showdown with the suitors, bro. Um, and of course Argus the dog, man. When I first read that, cause we spent 10 weeks on it in grad school. Um, uh, like, guys, I was like, no, Argus, not the dog, bro. That was probably. I'm sure. I'm sure all of the white women in the crowd that at the movies were like, no, but no, Argus, man, rest in peace. Yeah. I think that's about it. 7 out of 10. Thank you to once again Mr. J Gold from the St. John's College unofficial alumni Facebook group. Cause he's a real one, and like I'm sure if I hadn't read his post, I would have noticed these things in the movie. But thank you to him, um, as well. Even though I know he's probably not gonna see this, but yeah. So 7 out of 10. Go see it if you still can. Uh, and I hope that um they keep adapting these classical Greek stories, and it keeps getting better with each one. Bye, guys.